This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 229, Financial Confessions. I became so obsessed with being rich that now I'm sitting in prison. Part 1, by Lance with budgetsaresexy.com. And I am your host, Dan. I'm here each Monday through Friday reading to you from some of the best personal finance blogs on the planet. And today's post is a lot different than what we're used to hearing on this show. It's an experiment of sorts. It's pretty new, and it's from a guest author on Budgets Are Sexy, so not our typical post from J Money, both in the writing style and in the content. Now, if you end up really enjoying this kind of material, personal story type stuff, let us know about it. Come by oldpodcast.com and get in touch. And that's it for now. Let's get to the post as we optimize your life. Financial Confessions. I became so obsessed with being rich that I'm now sitting in prison. Part 1, by Lance with budgetsaresexy.com. At one point, I was a millionaire who went on frequent vacations to Europe and Mexico. I had a beautiful family, a decent job, and a terrific life. Now, I spend my time sharing a 2-bunk prison cell. Here's how it happened. I had a good job. I earned a decent salary, but it wasn't anything great. I worked in the advertising department of a large business with around 2,000 employees and did event planning, wrote brochures, and traveled around representing the company to pick up new business. I lived a good life, but watched a lot of my neighbors move to bigger houses, get newer cars or boats. My brothers-in-law were getting bigger and better jobs and started to make well over 6 figures. I hated family gatherings and hearing them talk about how great their job was and their latest 2-week vacation in Fiji or whatever other tropical place they were regularly going to. I would take my family camping in the mountains and we'd cram into a small, hot tent. Family dinners turned into bragging sessions to see who could one-up each other on their latest contract or company they just signed. I tried to upgrade my job a few times and just wasn't having any luck. I thought about going back to school as well. I just felt like I was falling behind and letting my family down. My wife never said anything about it, but I just felt that she wished things were better like her sisters had it, and it started to put me in a bad state of mind and made me think and justify things I would have never dreamed of doing. Suddenly, my boss left our company with no warning at all, and I went from someone who I really liked working with to someone that made my job and life miserable. My new boss was younger than me, cocky, arrogant, and had less experience and micromanaged our whole department. All this led me down the road to making my first mistake, which was to use my company credit card for my gas and some personal purchases. It was so easy and no one ever followed up. I remember standing at the gas station getting ready to slide in my corporate credit card for gas. I had done it before because I had to travel to events around the area. We had a company vehicle that we used, but today I was in my own car. I can remember sliding it in the first time and immediately panicked and wondered if I would get caught. I felt like somehow the company would be instantly alerted and the police would show up any second. I was distracted for several days just waiting for something to happen or something to be said to me. I turned in my receipts at the end of the month and nothing happened. So I did it again and again and again. Then, in addition to the gas, I started making some side purchases. We occasionally ordered items online or picked up things at the local store. I started throwing in a small item that could be work-related, or possibly not. Just looking at a receipt, you couldn't tell. And my boss didn't ask. He was an a-hole, but never bothered me about expenses. He just liked to boss people around. I would also pick up gift cards and say I was using them for giveaways out at events to give to regular clients or to draw in customers if we had a booth at a convention or expo. That sounded pretty normal and again doesn't look unusual when purchases were reviewed. I did it for a couple of years and these items really added up. I also started trying to pass off bigger items and was able to purchase brand new TVs, laptops, iPads, golf clubs, and countless gift cards. I even started selling some of the gift cards and items online for cash. Getting into big money. Once you start down this road and get away with it, you don't think, I should probably stop. You just think, what else can I do? Because I finally started to feel rich and I felt I deserved it because my company was underpaying me for my services and my boss was a dick. So then I took a huge step and I thought about how I could get some of the advertising dollars we were spending. I hated to think how I was helping some account executive get rich off our advertising. I wanted in on it. We regularly spent tens of thousands a month in advertising. It takes money to make money and get customers. We would pay ad agencies to buy our advertising online or with TV, radio, billboards, and anything else. We came up with our own scripts and commercials, but used the buying power of an agency that grouped together lots of clients' money to negotiate the best deal. It's a very common practice for most businesses to do this, so you get a bigger bang for your buck and you also don't have to negotiate with every advertiser individually. I would authorize the expense each month and couldn't believe we would cut checks regularly for $40,000 to $95,000 a month to the agency. I wanted in on that action as well, so I came up with a plan. I told my boss we should consider opening up some bids to other agencies to save some money and see if we can get a better deal, and he agreed. Again, the guy wasn't too into the details, so I just started bringing him the best offers. My fake company. I set up my own shell company and even set up a simple website to make it look all legitimate just in case someone wanted to look it up. I gave my boss my fake company, along with another 2 legitimate companies. I made good points about each company, but felt that by using a smaller agency with less clients, they could give us the focus we needed instead of being one of dozens of clients. My boss was okay with it, and I remember putting in the request for payment to accounts payable after creating my first fake invoice, and the check was cut and sent to my agency. I remember looking at the business account that I set up at the bank and seeing that first $45,000 sitting there. I knew I couldn't keep it all and planned on spending most of it on the advertising. I got some strange responses when I was calling around telling people I represented the company now and needed some rates, but I still got away with it over and over for years. It was the beginning of the end. To be continued. You just listened to part 1 of the post titled Financial Confessions. I became so obsessed with being rich that now I'm sitting in prison, by Lance with budgetsaresexy.com. And I'm going to wrap this post up in the Friday show tomorrow. Again, if you like this kind of content, something a little bit different, a story, a confessional, let us know and we can try to find more stories like this. And before we go, it would be great if you could subscribe to the show if you haven't done that already. I know many of you have. You can hear this podcast in almost all podcast apps. And while you're out there, check out the other podcasts in our network as well. We have 3 of them now. You can find them by searching for Optimal Living Daily wherever you're listening to this show. That's it for episode 229. Have a great rest of your Thursday, and we'll continue this story tomorrow where your optimal life awaits.
Hello, Life Optimizer. This is Justin Malik, creator and producer of this podcast, but also Optimal Living Daily, the show where I read to you from even more blogs covering finance, productivity, minimalism, personal development, and more from incredible bloggers like Derek Sivers, Zen Habits, Mark and Angel, The Minimalists, and all the ones you hear on this show too. So if you enjoyed today's episode and like taking amazing blogs on the go, come on over to Optimal Living Daily and subscribe to that one too. And together, we'll start optimizing your life.
You've been listening to Optimal Finance Daily. Be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date on each new episode and head to oldpodcast.com. That's OLDpodcast.com for a free gift as well as more actionable tips and resources to help you maximize your potential. Thanks for joining us, and remember, your optimal life awaits.